Hello, and welcome to a replay analysis where we look at people's gameplay and we help them get better. Definitely not help them get worse. We help them figure out how to not be worse and get better. This is a little bit of a speed boost. You know Mario Kart, when you hit like the speed boost ramp, or when you get the mushroom that makes you go super fast for a little bit? This is what replay analysis is for StarCraft. We're going to help Lundrill, our subject of the day, in a Zerg versus Terran in Gold League, learn how to play his styles more efficiently and better overall, and give him some ideas. So with that being said, guys, let's get it right into it, okay? Let's jump right in from his perspective, so we know what's going on. And now we're actually going to close this, okay? So I think I'm actually going to close this too on the top. I'm going to look at the replay from literally, it's kind of hard because I can't get rid of that, unfortunately. I just want to look at this from literally your perspective only. And it's like how we can break shit down and like how shit makes sense. Okay? I don't do this every time, but you know, it doesn't really matter either way. It's just, it's interesting to look at it from your perspective and like what tools you give yourself, essentially. All right, so here you go. We got gold level. We got a Overlord, 13 Overlord, and a drone being made again. So far, so good. Good job. The only thing you could do better is take one of these drones each off of these patches and put one on this far patch and one on that far patch, because those both only have one and they're better patches. Other than that, you're doing everything else great. The reason why, for people who may or may not know why I say to do that, why is that important? Because in a game of StarCraft 2, there are close and there are far patches. Close patches always have more minerals in them, just so it tells you what they are. Far patches always have less minerals in them. The starting minerals of each is 1800 versus 900. It's important that you put your drones on close patches when you stack them, or in the early game when you have literally nothing to do, because you have the time to do it, and it gives you more money because your drones have to go less distance to go for turn-ins. So it gives you more money overall. You should definitely stack your close patches. There's no reason not to do it if you're trying to improve, like if you're trying to like make it a habit to develop this. See, like now that one automatically stacked it, so that's good. So now you only have one patch that's close that's not being utilized properly. Alright, you go for a 17 hatch. Your scouting looks fine so far. Your Overlord in front of your base is well placed because you can deal with proxy bunker pushes this way really easy. You'll see it really far away. Your first Overlord is pacing well towards his base. I don't mind it. Your Gold League, I don't mind this scout. That's fine. The way you have it shifted commanded like that, it's okay. You don't need to see everything. Like you don't need to keep re-getting tabs on everything repeatedly, so I don't mind it. You just want to see if he expands. Okay, your build looks fine. Your gas is properly timed. Your pool is properly timed. Hatch is well timed. Everything's looking good. Larva's still being spent. Everything's going well. Yeah, so up to this point, the only thing I could really critique you on is the close patch stacking. That's it. So far. Don't forget to spin your larva, though, all the time. You're starting to drop off a little bit. Also, a little bit of a misclick here on your gas. Also, here's a quick trick that people may or may not know. Whenever you have minerals in your hand like this, here's a trick. If you ever grab 3 drones off the mineral line and you go, all right, let's saturate that gas really fast. When you have, with this, you know, you're not taking under 16, which is good. And you're putting 3 out of 3 on here. But you see how that drone has minerals in his hand right there? There's one drone there with blue minerals in his hand. If you would have grabbed 3 drones, and let's just say 1 of them or 2 of them or all 3 of them, it does not matter. If any of the drones have minerals in their hand like that, as you tell them to go mine the gas.
Oh, yeah.
If you tell them to mine the gas.
TA.
Let me finish this point and then I'll play that again. If you tell them all to mine the gas. Okay. All you have to do is hit C, return cargo. Just hit C. You don't have to hit. There's no shift command here. None of that shit. You literally just select 3 drones, right click this thing. If there are already resources in their hand, if you hit C, it will tell all your drones to turn in what is in their hands. And as soon as they turn in what is in their hands, they will then go to do whatever you just told them to do, which is go mine that gas. So if you hit C, you would have returned in those 5 more minerals right there. And so like if hitting C right here would have been the right time to do it. Like watch. If you hit C, like we'll watch right when you do it. You don't fucking hit shift. No. Don't use shift. Right there. You see how you did that? You selected 3 and you hit it. If you hit C, the second you said right click that gas, immediately right after you hit C. No shift. Just C for return cargo. Whatever your return cargo button is. If it's C, if it's not C, whatever. If you use grid or some shit, just hit the return cargo button the second you click the gas, and it will make the drone immediately turn the minerals into the hatchery and then go mine the gas. People do this kind of stuff all the time, and it's just a quick, like literally hit one button on the keyboard that takes you a millisecond, and you get more money this way. You don't waste 5 minerals in your hand. Alright, let's play that bot thing. ViBE, your voice is delayed. Just hit refresh on your stream, and it'll probably fix it. I can't really do anything about that, honestly, myself, unless I restart the stream. Yo, Bazikio. Bazikio, thank you very much for the 213 sub, dude.
THX for making the last to GM, getting back in the game, and it's always fun, enjoyable and a great learning experience to follow.
Thank you, man. Zigo, thank you for watching the series, and I appreciate also not only watching the series, but contributing subs to the stream, man. Much love. Appreciate you, dude. Okay. So your build overall still, again, looks pretty fine. And now you can see multiple barracks. You see multiple racks here. So a great way to deal with someone who's going multiple racks, you don't even necessarily have to move the over the way you're doing it. I don't know what this is doing now. You could have just gone back to the cliff like you did. The reason why that's kind of nice to go back to the cliff like you did is because it can't die there unless he lifts off his buildings. But you would be in range to see if he's going to expand. So you would know if an expansion comes down. I don't know why you're going to this cliff now. It doesn't, because you're still also, this overlord not only sees him leaving his base, but you actually get more information to see if he expands. Going here only shows you if he leaves his base. So if this is the cliff you're going to, this makes no sense to go here. You had the shift command to go here and you rearranged it to go there. You definitely want to see if he expands, like eventually. And the perfect way to react to this is literally just do beta GM build exactly the way you're supposed to do it. Just add in 1 spine crawler. That's all you'd have to deviate right now. Just add a spine. One, not mass spine, 1 spine. And you should be doing it like now. Early. Like right now. Add a spine. Because this looks like it could be an all-in. And the fact that you're not building a spine is definitely going to fuck you over. Really late spine. Now you're making 2. Don't make 2 spines. 1 is enough. You made it for okay. So the 2 problems here. Number 1, you made it way too late. Because if this guy was going for like reapers or something, you would hate your life. Now reapers could jump up your cliff too, which is going to make it even harder as well in other ways. He could also jump up your cliff over there. He could jump up your cliff right there. This could be fucking annoying if it was reapers. But again, if it's gold reapers, it's not going to be the micro the best. And I don't want you to go for like speedlings against reapers and gold. Who gives a fuck? It's not going to happen a lot. If this was a marine push with like SCV pull or something like that, he could walk across the map now and kill this spine before it was done by how late you built it. Like marines could get over here and they could kill it in production. So having a late spine like that is not good. Because you are actually vulnerable to an all-in now because it's so late. And your opponent's not committed to going for an expansion. He's committed to going for multiple racks. So just way too late on the first spine. You should make it like the second you confirm, oh, okay, cool. Like it's like during the first 2 queens being built, you make the first and only spine crawler. And this is, again, just in case your opponent pushes early with a few units. That way you don't have to pull drones or anything or make lings that are shitty. Now, second spine is not worth it because all this is going to do now is slow you down towards pacing towards roaches. The second spine is not going to really be worth making right now because the whole point of where you want to be at really early is the roaches. You don't want to be on multiple spines because if your opponent, for instance, expands behind this, this is just going to put you further and further behind. And roaches pace out really fast if you just make them efficiently. So like right now, the second you've confirmed that he has double racks and you're like, okay, freak out now a little bit. I gotta go double spine. Let's see if you spend your larva as well. Are you gonna spend your larva? You are making a third queen at least, which makes me happy. You should be doing that. But are you gonna make your larva at all? Or are you just gonna not spend it now? Okay, you spend your larva, that's good. I'm happy about that. You're making drones still, which is good. Actually, I'm gonna leave that open. I wanna see your larva. How fast, okay, Roach Warren, this is what I'm talking about. I feel like you're freaking out now. First spine was okay. It was an okay cost. It would delay your larva a little bit, but it's not going to larva cap you. Second spine increases the delay of your drones now, or your larva now, of being able to spend it, and it will put you more in the realm of being way closer to larva capping now, because now that's an extra drone again that dies. It's an extra drone that dies because this second spine is no longer mining minerals. It's becoming a spine crawler. It's a cost you invest into to lose economy as well. And then on top of that, the build is supposed to be, I've said this is the key to the build. You do not make the Roach Warren until you spend the larva from the first inject. You instead made a second spine and a Roach Warren during the inject, and it pops off, and now you cannot fucking spend your money. This Roach Warren is going to be only seconds earlier than it would have been if you would have made the larva first. Only like, maybe like, literally like 8 seconds earlier. Very, very, very short amount of time. And the reason why is because the more drones you make, the faster you generate money, the faster you can recover your money and do things like make a Roach Warren faster, if you keep spending your money faster. But when you don't spend your larva and you make expenses instead that don't generate money for you, it makes it take way longer than the opposite. Like making drones into a Roach Warren is way faster than making a Roach Warren back into then making drones. Because it's a hiccup in your economy. It doesn't actually give you economy. It detracts from it, actually. It's like you're going up in a graph and suddenly you have this big down spike because you don't spend your larva and you go to your Roach Warren first. Now, I imagine if you get attacked, here's where it all makes sense. If you got attacked with a standard build before your Roach Warren was done because you prioritized your larva, that Roach Warren would still be done in time if your opponent waited long enough to have an army that would overpower your spine crawler. But if your opponent pushes like right now and you're going, fuck, I need a Roach Warren like right now, I'm gonna die right now. If he pushed right now, 1 spine, 2 queen could kill the push that would happen right now. Because if he did push right now, he would have only a few Marines, and a few Marines or Reapers or whatever the fuck he's gonna make, a couple Marauders. Probably not gonna be Marauders because he has no tech labs. But you understand what I mean? Like, he's gonna have such a few little bit of units, it's not enough to overpower Queen's Spine. So you're not intimidated there. And the time it would eventually become that you would be intimidated, you have roaches now anyways. So the point is to get the roaches as fast as possible by not fucking your economy up. But now, the window of you actually getting the roaches has now widened deeper in the game. If you would have got, let's just say you're supposed to get roaches at like 4:30, okay? I'm just throwing a number right here, okay? I'm just going to give you an example. It doesn't have to be exact. I just want you to understand the concept. If you fuck your economy up, you could make roaches at like 4:30. But now, because you're taking the Roach Warren earlier, which it seems intelligent because you can get roaches faster, really what's going to happen is now you're not going to really be able to make roaches until like 5 minutes now. You make the Roach Warren faster to really make them later. Because here's the reason why this makes sense. If you make roaches now, as soon as this Roach Warren is done, you're going to be making roaches when your economy is looking like shit and now you are all in. If you don't attack him with like 12 drones on the middle line and 1 gas saturated over here and it's like looking like garbage, it's super undersaturated. If you don't attack him and you're just making roaches then, and then you just go back into drones, your pacing for your max is super, super, super inefficient and delayed. And that is the way you're going to lose to players who just play efficient. You're already falling in the realm of inefficiency here with double spine and now Roach Warren before larva spending. And now you're capped on larva, so you're not generating larva. So you're missing out. Every second that goes by now is every single 10 seconds that goes by, just for larva generation, you're missing 1 per hatchery. You don't want to be in this realm. This is making you fall so far behind in the game now. And you can't spend your larva because you have no fucking money. You're like trying real hard to spin it, but you're like you're trying, but you can't. You're still capped on larva. And now you've just stopped spinning it. There you go. I think you stopped spinning it because you're moving your overlord again. I think you're panicking right now, and there's no reason to panic. This is normal. This should feel normal. Okay, look at your roach warren. Your roach warren's done, right? It's done. Watch. If you make drones, it's still correct. If you make roaches, it's incorrect because you're not fully saturated yet.
Our forces are under attack.
Okay. So you're panicking a lot right now. You are going mass panic right now. You have to just be like, I want you to just do the build the way the build is and just fucking do it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you just did it, you would already be fully saturated with your main and natural, and you would already be making roaches for this fight. And if you want to make spores blindly against Terran, do not make 4 fucking spore crawlers blindly at 4 minutes. More like 3:55. Make 1 spore per mineral line at 4:30. You were afraid of BC? I understand that. I know that's why you made spores. It's because you're afraid of either cloak banshees or BCs. But if it's, let me throw this out there and say, if a banshee with cloak attacks you, the fastest it can possibly attack you is probably around 4:45 to 5 minutes. The fastest a battle cruiser can attack you, if it's rushed, is about 5 minutes and 15 seconds to like 5:40, depending on how fast this guy prioritizes his gas and like devalues his minerals. Because if he like rushes double gas right away, yeah, he'll get it a little faster, but he'll have a fucking terrible economy. So right around like, we'll say like 5:30 on average is when a BC can hit you. 5:30 roughly, like at the earliest. A lot of players won't even hit you with a BC till like 6 minutes, because they play like for, you know, they make an actual command center and then go with their tech with gas and shit. But like 5:30, this is way earlier than 5:30. And then, so what I'm saying, and also with the banshee, like around like just under 5 minutes with cloak, like it could be finishing if it was rushed. So if you made spores at 4:30 and you just made 1 spore per mineral line, number one, why this is really good to do it like this is you're not making a spore that's going to do nothing for a long time and it's just going to sit there. So it's not an unnecessary expense for a long time. Number two, you're making it not in the phase of when you're making drones. You're making it in the phase when you're done making drones for those bases. So it's way easier to recover faster with your money. If you like, this is the same reason why you got fucked with a spine. Making a second spine when you have low drone count is going to hurt you a lot. Making a roach warren before you spin your larva is going to hurt you a lot. Making 4 spores before you're fully saturated on your bases is going to hurt you a lot. You want to maintain good saturation as much as possible, and I can really only justify 1 fucking spine crawler because he doesn't have a natural. You should already be making roaches right now. With, again, fully saturated, saturated. Like 3 gas, double mineral line, fully saturated. We're talking 41 drones already. 41 drones. Right now you have 33. You could easily be at 41 drones right now. Easily. Because if you had 1 less spine, 4 less spores already, that's 37 drones. And if you didn't build your roach warren so early and you didn't larva cap for a while, and you're also not injecting anymore either. You have stopped injecting as well. The second that Overlord died, like, you panicked again and everything just went out the fucking window and you stopped macroing. I would say, honestly, in this game, you're probably already like 12 larvae down, or like 10 larvae down where you should be. Already. Probably like 12. About 12 larvae down. Somewhere around there. It's very close. Because you've larva capped and you've also not injected. So if we take away these 4 drones that could have been in a fucking, you know, not into static D, that you don't need. It's really 5 drones. You don't need these spores yet, all 4 spores or the spine. So it's really 38 drones you would have had. And if you had like 12 more larvae on top of that, from 38 to 41, that's 3 out of 8. Or other, what did I say? 12 more larvae you could have had, and you'd only need 3 of that. Yeah, so you would have had 9 larvae, because it's 12 minus 3. You would have had like 9 larvae to use on roaches. You could have already had fucking like 9 roaches being made right now. Because you also have to subtract the cost of your inefficiencies of mining has slowed down your economy a little bit, but also the cost of a spine, the cost of that spore, the cost of all 3 of these spores. Take all that money out of the equation, put that back into your bank account. You could easily have made roaches by now. And if you had 9 roaches right now, and then you started a 3rd base, you could hold the shit out of this timing that's coming to you with 9 roaches and 1 spine and 2 queens. Easy. And you're also not spreading any creep. Your 3rd queen has been sitting here the whole time and has generated 62 energy now. This is 2 tumors it could have had, which is really 3, because every time a tumor refreshes in the energy, you could have spread a tumor as well. So that's 1 tumor at 25, and then at 50, that's now 3 tumors, because the first tumor is spread once, which makes 2, and then a 3rd tumor goes down to make 3, because you have the 2nd actual tumor. So you'd have 1 inactive tumor that just sits there, and 2 active tumors. So you could have had creep from like here to there, and you could have had your main connected to your natural, or you could have had a 2nd tumor that could have spawned like the first creep tumor that went there. You could have spread this tumor like that way, and then you could have had creep up here too, where you committed like a 2nd tumor right there. You could have had creep coming out over to here and like down here already. If you would have just spread creep too. Like you're just not doing any mechanics. And when you get all in, mechanics are fucking really, really important. Having creep is really nice to not die. And now you're making roaches at 33 drones, so you're just super fucked now. I'm glad you canceled the spores, but you didn't even need them. 430. 1 spore per mineral line. 430. And you'll be totally fine. You're not mining the gas at all. Your build is very underpacing, right? It's very paced slowly. You're still not mining gas? You're still not fixing these drones? Yo, good night, Shirax. Take it easy, man. Okay. So, he's pushing you. Now, if you had creep here, you would have saw this coming from a lot further away. You could have engaged this faster. But if you saw this pushing you, there are multiple options you have here. Number 1, you can just make more roaches. At this point now, you could just make more roaches right now. The fact that you only have 5 roaches at 5 minutes is fucking terrible. Like you've panicked in so many ways to make like, for instance, okay, here's an example. Let me explain this where this will make sense, and it makes you go, oh, well, maybe I don't need to panic then. You panicked by making 2 spines, right? You made those spines at like 140 or 2 minutes, something around there. Like maybe like 2 minutes. You made it kind of late. You made it like maybe 2 minutes to like 2:10. I don't know. It's a fucking long time ago though. You did not make that shit like at 3:40 or like 4 minutes. You made that shit a long time ago, and you made 2 of them. Now, have either one of these spines done a single thing in this game yet so far? Definitely no. They've just been fucking sitting there with their big pokers, just chilling, just looking around like, okay, we're just waiting. So double spine has not netted you any benefits, which is exactly why I tell you to make 1 spine. Don't overreact. I never tell anyone to make double spine in B2GM. I always say 1 fucking spine. Here's the second thing. Your roach warren, you made this shit really fucking early. And remember what I said? How I was like, it's crazy to know the logic here, but you'll actually be able to make roaches slower if you make the roach warren faster, because you're making the roach warren before you can actually afford it. Whereas if you made the roach warren where you could afford it, you'd have more roaches faster. It's weird like how that logic matches up, right? But you have 5 fucking roaches at 448, and you have a very poorly saturated mineral line, so you cannot actually pace at a strong. And I literally called 12 on the mineral line, 3 on the gas. You have 15, which is a little better, but only 1 gas still. This is not good still. And you also, in your main base, have only 14. So if you really think about it, you have 13 mining right now on this base. Because if you take 2 off here and put, 2 off here, whatever, missing 3 drones is my point I'm trying to make here. You're missing 3 drones mining minerals right now because you're not fixing this. So you're very close to what I quoted you, which is not good. It's very inefficient. It's overreactions. It's freaking out. It's like basically you thinking like every spider is poisonous. And you get the flamethrower to kill all of them. Like, no, that's not how it is. Use your thumb. Push your thumb on it. No, I'm just kidding. That's fucking disgusting. I don't ever do that. Get a shoe or something. I don't know. You're freaking out is my point. For no reason. You've done so many things that haven't actually done anything yet. This is the problem of people in low league. They think they... Like, I bet you probably played this game and you go, dude, I did beat a GM. Doesn't fucking work, man. People do builds like this. And people... ViBE, when you played people who did builds like this, you know what? Like, that didn't happen. Your Beat a GM series probably did not have people who did builds like this. This is way more aggressive than the shit you dealt with. I'm dealing with shit that's on another level, man. But I never did shit like this either in my Beat a GM series. I never played inefficient. And everything you've done up to this point has been inefficient for no reason. You have not netted any benefits from making ridiculously fast roaches or a second spine or all the spores you made. It's just panic. None of it has made any sense up to this point, and all it has done is slowed you down so this actually becomes harder to deal with. You have also not spread any fucking creep. No creep has been spread, so you didn't even know it was coming until it's already sieged on your fucking front door. So that's awful. That's hard for you to deal with. The easiest way you can deal with this is if you just had enough shit and you see him walk on your creep, you literally just can go like this. Green box, A move. And you would win. I'm dead serious. You would fucking win that fight. I am 100% confident you could kill this army if you just A-moved it, if you actually had an efficient build. But do I think 5 roaches and 2 queens is efficient by 448? No. That's not efficient. And also the fact that it's not even just that, it's that your economy isn't even fully saturated at this point. So you're going to fall deeper into the realm of inefficiency. What do I do about the liberator? You should honestly be like this. Hey, move. Go over there. Mini-map it. Or what? Like, you could literally go like this. Or I'll just do this. Oh, did I win the fight? I wasn't looking. I didn't even notice there was a liberator there. I just closed my eyes. Wait, hold on. He's attacking me again. I just A-move in the area. Okay, fight's over. Oh, I won the fight again. Nice. If your build's efficient, you don't have to micro in Gold League. I tell you what, Lundrel, I'll do a build for you after this game, and I'll show you. I'll pace you, and I'll show you. This build hits you? Let's see exactly when this build hits you, okay? Like, the first shot is fucking fired. 451. At 451, okay, I want to do a build for you. And he's not even poking. He's literally doing nothing. He's sitting there. The fight really isn't even starting right now. He's fucking sitting there. There is no pressure on you right now. You should feel like this, okay? Every second your opponent just sits there and sits there and sits there and sits there, and there's no real pressure, you get further and further and further ahead. Because look, you have a natural. He doesn't. He needs to fucking be pretty proactive with time, and the fact that he's just kind of fucking putting his thumb up his ass over here outside your base, this is not proactive pushing. This is like, huh? This is what? Huh? I'm here. You afraid yet? No, not really, because you're not actually killing anything. Like, I don't give a fuck. Just sit there all day. You'll be at 40 supply, and I'll be at 90, and then I'll just literally run your ass over. Look at your economy. Every second is actually in benefit of you right now. This is no reason to freak out at all. But it is a reason to freak out if you don't fucking macro and you don't have enough units. Then, yeah, it will break you. 100% it will break you then, for sure. So you're moving out with 5... okay, so only 4 roaches are moving out right now. Not even your 5th one. It's just sitting there next to the hatchery, and your 2 queens are moving out. 4 roaches and 2 queens. I'm going to throw that out there and say they're not going to beat 9 marines, a tank, and a liberator. But your problem is not in this. This is where I want you to realize your problem. It's not going, dude, ViBE, fucking 4 roaches and 2 queens don't beat that. Okay? Like, it doesn't fucking work. I can't beat this army. Your problem is that you have 2 queens and 4 roaches attacking his army right now. What you should have is 2 queens and about 14 roaches. Not 4. Right now. You could have easily made a lot of roaches as soon as your overlord died and just went, oh, he killed my overlord. Okay. Roaches, 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 roaches. And you should right now have probably 14 and like another 4 in production. Or something like that. Like, you could easily have so much more than you do right now. And you're going to get destroyed if you walk into this. This is not a mystery to me. You're definitely going to lose that. And it's because you just don't have anything. You don't have enough units. There's not enough there. And now, when you fall into a position where you break like that, if you ever break like that, where you just threw away 14 supply, because you did throw away 4 roaches, 2 queens, and then your last roach came over as well. Your roach isn't there anymore, so it obviously engaged after the first 4 engaged, and it died as well. So that's a total of 14 supply. Look at your supply. You're still ahead of him. Even though you just literally threw away 14 supply to kill, what, 1 marine or some shit? You killed barely anything there. Or you killed a couple marines. You're still ahead. Imagine if you just played a little patient. Like, what if you just built more shit? Like, see all these roaches that are spawning now? You have 12 roaches spawning right now. Even though you macroed this poorly, what if you just waited? Like, what are you afraid of? He's not even killing your base right now. And again, time is on your side if he has his thumb up his ass, not on his side. You are the one who gets further and further ahead. You will overrun his ass if he's like, I'm chilling. And you're probably like, dude, he's got more tanks coming, man. He's got more fucking liberators coming, man. He's gonna contain me. You're looking at the game all wrong, dude. It's all wrong. And the reason why is because, number 1, you didn't give yourself defender's advantage. You gave yourself no creep spread. You gave yourself no pre-siege engagement. You gave yourself no notifications that he's fucking here yet. You gave yourself no fucking good macro to actually engage and jump on his ass right away. You did not have roaches ready to go as soon as you saw him up here. You gave yourself no fucking reaction to what an all-in looks like. You did nothing to prepare for it in terms of like simply macroing efficiently and spreading a little bit of creep. You did not do the mechanical shit properly. Secondly, you engaged it with a spread out army because look, this is exactly what I'm talking about. He shows up. This is exactly what I'm talking about, like your spine and your roach warren. You're freaking out again. He shows up and he sieges you with 1 tank and 1 liberator. And what do? You have 24 fucking supply army, 24 supply of army in production, and it's almost done. And you took a fight just now that died with 14 supply because you're afraid of him containing you with siege tanks. He can't fucking do that shit in like 2 seconds. If you just waited until this spawned and you attacked with, instead of 14 supply and then now 24, if you instead attacked with fucking 38 all at once, you could have collapsed on his ass probably as the second tank arrived and you would have ran his ass over. It is very hard for him to deal with that. But if you bleed, and here's what I think is going to happen. You know what I think is going to legit happen? I feel like what I'm about to see is your roaches and your main are going to spawn at the same time as roaches in the natural. And they're not all timed together, by the way. But I bet the roaches in the natural are going to fucking rally into his army. And they're going to die. And then the roaches in the main are going to rally into his army. And they're going to die. And then your next roaches are going to spawn and rally into his army. And they're going to die. And then these roaches in the main after are going to rally into his army. And then they're going to die. Yo, thank you very much, Big Fungus, for the 413 sub. I feel like you're just panicking. And all it would have taken is just rally, maybe like your re-rally your hatcheries like back here. And just fucking wait until you actually have like grouped up the existing units you just made and then go. It's just like 4 seconds or 5 seconds. I'm not telling you to wait forever. I'm just telling you to wait till you have like everything you've prepared. If you just made like, because look at this. You engage after you make the roaches. Watch this. Right now, look at your larva. Look at your production. You have overlords, right? Watch your production. Look at it. This is my point. that I'm trying to make here. Watch the production right now. He sieges you. You're like, well, fuck me. Look at your larva. Well, number one, you're not really spinning your larva. Watch your larva. You just spent it. You just made roaches. Now, if you're not going to engage him with good creep spread before he sieges, just fucking let him siege and concede the fact that you're just going to wait for the roaches now. Just wait for these fucking roaches that you just made. And look at your larva again. You have you have enough minerals and gas to make 7 roaches right now. You do. You are not making them yet, so you're wasting time. Because I think you're probably freaking out like where you go, oh God, he's here. They're here. Ah, fuck, what do I do? Panic, sound the alarms, everyone fucking burrow. If you just made your larva, just make your larva. Again, your build is inefficient already, as we talked about. I want you to know that. This is not the peak efficiency you could ever had. If you just made this larva, though, I'm going to give you a time now. If you just made this larva, 7 plus 5, plus how much production? 5, right? Yeah, you'd have 12 roaches. 12 roaches. A roach is a 19-second build time. And you already have the larva. So if you started it right now, had 5 minutes and 10 seconds, your roaches would spawn. All of them would spawn it by 5:10, because that's 19 seconds from now. Okay? And then it would take you probably 2 seconds for your roaches to spawn and literally run across the creep down to the ramp. Maybe 3 seconds. We'll give you 3 seconds. We'll give you 3 seconds. Okay? That's a good amount of time. So at 5:13, your roaches in the main could all be coming down the ramp right here, and the roaches in the natural could be waiting like right here. 5:13, and at 5:13 you could then engage him, and you would probably take like 2 seconds to go from 5:13 to like 5:15 from your roaches to go from like right here to like right here, because again you're on creep. At 5:15 the fight would be starting. Now let's see how much reinforced Terran shit has existed now by 5:15. He hasn't even sieged the tank yet. Yeah, there's a second tank here. But I'm going to let you know a secret. If you have like 20 roaches or something and 2 queens fighting 2 tanks and a liberator and only like 8 marines or 10 marines, that's not actually a good fight for Terran unless there was like a full wall here. If there was a full wall there, yeah, Terran could beat that army. But there's not a wall here. It's wide open. You could totally win that fight with like 20 fucking roaches. Because again, you threw away your first roaches and then you could have made 12 more on top of that. You could have had 17 roaches exactly. You could have had 17 roaches and 2 queens. That would crush the fuck out of 2 tanks, 1 liberator, and like 10 marines. That is what I did last time, which killed me then. Well, if you fucking play inefficient like this, it's gonna kill you every time. Okay, now I'm going to let this play out, and you're going to die, because I'm going to watch you literally rally roaches in and die. And you're going to rally roaches in and die. And you're going to bleed your army out repeatedly. So the way to fix that is just to fix your rally point. That's literally what I thought you would do. That's exactly what you did. Yeah. I love you, man. Lundrel, I fucking love you. But
is the best.
I fucking love you too. Well, I see. Thank you for the 10-month resub. Lundrel, I feel no sympathy for you right now, because you're fucking yourself more than he's fucking you. And I'm going to definitely help you figure this out. I think they aggro because they're hit by the tank. They aggro because they have nowhere to go. They're fucking stopping. Units on. If you tell a unit to go on move command, it does not aggro a tank. If you tell a unit to go on a move command, it does aggro a tank. Or if you tell a unit to just sit where it is, it will aggro a tank. Look at your rally point. Watch your rally point. It goes right there. So it gets aggroed by the tank because you're not rallying them away from the fight. You should rally them like back here or like over here. Ideally, probably back here. Because they're closer to the fight then. If you go back into the main base, you don't have creep here because you didn't spread creep. So it's going to be slow on the ramp. Slower to engage. But look at your roaches. Look at your rally point. Watch it. Roaches spawn. They're going to the fucking rally point. They're not on move command at all. They're on sit there with my thumb up my ass command. And then what happens? The spine crawler gets shot and they aggro. And now they go into the fight and they die. And then these roaches, same thing. You rallied them, or what? You move command right there. You're move commanding right there. I can see your fucking clicks. They get there and they stop and they're getting fucking shot, so they go back into the fight again. And then you actually commit to the fight. This is a real commitment here. And you actually, I'm not gonna lie, you actually could have won this fight, believe it or not. You wanna know how? You even this size, like, you got shot multiple times, and this size of an army could have still won this fight. You could have still fucking won this fight. You wanna know how you could have done this? Run your roaches. I'm not, again, this requires a little bit of micro, and I don't want you to have to micro. But what I'm trying to tell you is, roaches could actually beat this, literally. If you just fucking walked to right there. Just walk right there, and you know what you do then? Kill the fucking Marines. Kill, like, focus fire a couple of Marines, and you would easily win this fight because you're out of range of the liberator field because you're back there, and you're too close to the tanks so they can't shoot you. Like, 4 roaches could beat this army if he doesn't unsiege. And if he does unsiege, well, then your reinforcements don't get fucking killed anymore because he's unsieged and you could re-engage him then. But you obviously, you don't only have 4 roaches here. The more roaches you have, the better. Watch your roaches. Number 1, the first bad thing is they're engaging in a single file line, which means they have, like, as the first one dies, they replace each other's movement. They should definitely, if you could have engaged better, it would have been better if you would have made the single file line maybe run like over here and then engage with a big concave that goes all at once rather than a single file line that goes 1 by 1 by 1 by 1. But look at the, watch the roaches. You target the Marines, and you target the Marines within tank range, like where they can still shoot you. Like, this is not ideal because you're buying him more time to do more damage to you with the liberator and the tanks. He gets more shots off. What if you would have just kept running right there? If you would have just kept running, you eliminate the tanks and liberator's damage, which is like 20 times the value of these Marines. And the Marines then start trying to shoot you off the tanks, and they're like tickling the roaches, basically, which is what they do. They don't do shit for damage to roaches. And you sit in the liberator field the whole time. Just to throw it out there, a liberator will kill a roach in 2 hits. A tank will kill a roach in 3 hits, but it's basically 2 because the roach barely fucking lives to 2 hits. It's like literally like all of its fucking limbs are off. It's a fucking potato roach, and it's got 1 claw and a torso just crawling at the tank at that point. It's like, it's just trying to like bleed acid on the tank to kill it. Maybe that's its goal in life at that point. But the Marines, you know how many fucking hits it takes for a Marine to kill a roach? A fucking Marine does 5 damage per hit to a roach. And a roach has 145 hit points. And a roach has regen. So even if it didn't have regen, it would take a Marine 29 fucking shots to kill a roach. 20 fucking 9, not 2. 29. But with regen, it takes a Marine, realistically, like 32 hits to kill a roach. It's a lot of fucking shots. It's a lot of time that goes by. So the fact that you prioritized right there the Marines and sat in the fucking tank and liberator range to just get shot at, like, you're definitely getting fucked over because you're prioritizing the Marines as the kill target. Like, who fucking cares about the Marines? They're literally, you know what Marines are? They're decoys that are just like dummies that like shake back and forth like, shoot us. Ah! Shoot us, dude. Come on, look at us. Hey, tanks, fucking kill everything. Like, their Marines are fucking useless. They're awful. Who fucking cares about these things? But again, all of this is not relevant to you in Gold League because you should have just focused on macro, and you would have had enough to kill everything without even knowing the fight even happened. That's what should have happened. And it's not a mystery. It's not magic. It's just macro. It's the other M word. And you didn't fucking do it. No arguing. Okay, I'm gonna prove it to you, alright? I'm gonna prove it to you.
Our forces are under attack.
Alright, and then now you're probably just gonna die because you've bled out your army repeatedly. And now it is getting out of control. Because now you're in that bleed out phase where you just can't stop it anymore. See, like, the idea you have now where you're building up an army is the right idea, but if you would have just done it in the beginning, before you bled out 31 units at this point, it would have worked way better. But now that you've bled out 31 units and now you wait to build up units and you go, well, ViBE, see, building up units doesn't actually work, man. But you're doing it on 1,000 fucking minerals and you've already lost 3,000 resources. This is definitely not an efficient time to do this. Like, this is after you've, like, lost your fucking legs already. So, of course, it's going to fail. It's very likely going to fail here. And you get destroyed. As we thought. Now, watch this. Let's go back to when the timing first showed up at your base. And when it really needed to be dealt with. Okay, he's not even attacking you. He's fucking sitting there. We'll just say 5 minutes. Because he doesn't even move the tank in range of your hatchery. There was no pressure here for you. At first. We'll say 5 minutes is the mark, okay? And at 5 minutes, you've already lost 2 roaches. Or have you? No, you... Wait, what else died? You lost the Overlord. You lost the Overlord. So you've lost 1 roach. Okay, so at 5 minutes. This is the timer, okay? At 5 minutes... Write this down. Watch this shit. At 5 minutes. 5 minutes. You have 37 drones. You have 60... You really had 63 supply. Because 1 roach just died. 63 supply. And you have 0 creep. And you have 5 roaches. Okay? That's the quota here. That's what I just wrote down. 5 roach, 63 supply, 37 drones, no creep spread. 5 minutes. That is what you mustered by 5 minutes. I'm going to give you an example now of what BDGM should look like if you macro properly. And I'm going to build a spine. I'm going to still build a spine just like you did. But I'm not going to do any inefficiencies like you did. 5 minutes. I don't give a shit. Like, you didn't really get attacked until 5 minutes either. It started right at 5 minutes, and I even gave you that roach that died. So I didn't even, like, subtract anything out of there for you. It was all just you overreacting to everything and going, I don't know. Shit. Everything could kill me. I don't know what's going to be. The death is over there. 5 minutes. 5 minutes is the timer. Okay? 5 minutes. Let's see what we have by 5 minutes. And I'm not even doing a mineral split in the early part. I didn't like try to squeeze out that money either. I just let it auto split itself. But now I am going to saturate close patches because that's what you should do. Look how easy that was. 2 fucking clicks. And now I have all 4 close patches saturated. That's why I tell people to do it. Because I just now made more money by doing that. A little bit throughout the game. And more money is better. It helps you. And from there, like if I really wanted to, I could saturate the close patch or the far patches too with 2 per patch. But getting the close patches saturated is definitely important. It's not hard to do it either because right now there's nothing going on. You're just staring at your base like a fucking zombie at this point. You're like, oh, oop, what is it? What? Are you ready? Watch. We're at 1 minute. We got 4 left. ViBE, why don't you use a display grid? Because it's training wheels. I took those bad boys off in 2010. I don't use training wheels. I'm a big boy. So badass. I know, thank you. Okay, so all we're doing, again, we're going to make a spine to be safe. If we don't see a natural, which we're going to make one either way, because that's what you did. That's, you played against an all-in, and that's part of the build. And yeah, we'll get ready, dude. We're on our way. We're at 2 minutes now. We're getting closer and closer to 5 minutes.
Swarm forces.
All right, my Overlord is getting killed right now. Get it over the cliff. I'm still gonna make the spine. I hope my Overlord doesn't die. You fucking piece of shit AI. No, don't lose. I don't want to lose my Overlord. It fucks me pretty bad. Don't lose it. Ruins the example. Okay, good. Thank God. I was freaking out there. Okay, it's like, oh, let's build a spine crawler. Queens are still being production. Oh, he doesn't have a natural. Pretending, obviously, it's like what you did. This is what, like, around the time you should have taken your spine. Like, start it early, before your queens are even out. You didn't start your spines until, like, your third queen was, like, there. Like, 40% of the way done. It was super, super late. If you would have gotten all in by something early, like 5 Marines and, like, an SCV pull, you could have died. So the spine covers the base long enough, you know, so that until the roaches do actually spawn, we're okay. The spine can kill anything that happens really fast. And like right now you made the roach warren, and right now you already had a second spine, and you made double gas. Or you didn't make double gas early, but you did go roach warren this early. But look, I just made all the larvae, and now I'm gonna make the roach warren. I can still afford it. Easy, easy peasy. And now I'll take double gas. Turn that money in.
Queen birth successful.
Mm-hmm. 41 drones is where you want to be, right? You were at 33 drones at 5 minutes. We're already at 41 at 350. And I'm already making roaches right now. I'm already fully saturated. At 4 fucking minutes. And right now I could be taking a third. I could be starting creep again. Because we always want to take a third when we spread creep. Or, sorry, we always want to take a third when we start roaches. Like, you weren't even attacked until 5 minutes, realistically. This is why I'm like always being like, people need to stop fucking freaking out about everything in low leagues, because if you just macro, you'd be fine. Now, right about now is when the Overlord died, and you're like, oh, he's pushing, and you're already in the roach safety phase. You could just make more roaches. So if you saw that, let's just say I do that now, and I'm like, you know what, fuck it, let's make more roaches. And look at my creep. Look at this fucking creep. You see that shit? Now he would be like right here, right now. These tumors would probably have died. 100%. Like, he'd be walking right here. He would have been sieging you like right now. You could have backed up. He'd be like, I'm not ready to engage this yet. You back up on your base, whatever. You make more roaches. And now watch this. At 5 minutes, you had 37 drones. You had 63 supply. You had no creep spread. And you had 5 roaches. At 5 minutes for us, we'll go back exactly to the timer. So it's not cheating. Oh, shit. At 5 minutes for us, we have 41 drones. So we have 4 more drones than you do right now. And yeah, you had 37 because you canceled the spores at this point. So you did have 37 though. I have 4 more drones than you do right now. But I had a lot more for a lot longer than you did. You had 63 supply. I have 77. You have 0 creep in your game. I have actually more creep than I even said I would have. Realistically, I would have... This tumor would definitely be there. These 2 tumors would have probably died because he would have pushed. And these 2 would have gotten killed as they were making. This one was already done, though. This one would be there, this one would be there, this one would be there, and this one would have finished because he didn't push here, he pushed here. So I would have had 4 tumors. I would have had 6, but 2 of them would have died with the same push you just dealt with. So 4 tumors, that gives me a lot of creep to work with here. Both my bases are connected. Like, my third's connected to my main. And you didn't even have a third either. You never even started this. And I have a third that's already almost done. At 5 minutes. And you only had 5 roaches. I have 11. And in production, again, look at the larva. We have the same amount of larva that's sitting there. Just like you did. You had 7, I have 7. And I can make that right now. Boom. Just made a bunch of roaches in production. So... And my supply, 1 second after 5 minutes, went to 87. I just went fucking up again. You see what I mean, though? Like, this is not the same fucking thing. If you had this army right now as he engaged you, and you would have just waited for... Just... Because he wasn't even sieging your base. If he kills your fucking... Or he starts shooting your spine, uproot it. Move it back. Who cares? Just... If you make a bunch... If you already have a bunch of units in production, and all it would have taken you is like 15 seconds, 17 seconds... Whatever, 19 seconds to wait until they spawn. Just fucking wait those few seconds. You can't make a tank every 5 seconds and suddenly a tank arrives, a tank arrives, a tank arrives, a tank arrives. That's not how it works. A tank has like a 36-second build time. So if you just wait for one final round of like 20 fucking supply in your eggs from the next inject that just spawned and you make roaches with it, even if your hatchery's getting shot by a tank, who fucking cares? It doesn't take a tank like 3 shots to kill a hatchery. For one tank to kill a hatchery, you want to know how long it actually takes? It would take that tank, the tank's attack speed is about like 2.5 seconds. Like, I'll say 2 seconds, and I'm not exact there. About a 2-second attack speed on a tank when it's sieged. And it does 70 fucking damage, which is really 69 meme mode to a hatchery. So 69 damage, realistically, that's like 25 shots from a tank to kill the hatchery. Like, give or take. It's right, or I don't know. I'm estimating the math here, but about 25 shots at 2 seconds a shot. It would take the tank about almost a full fucking minute to kill your hatchery by itself. And if the bio joins in, instead of about a minute to kill the fucking the hatchery, it would actually take the hatchery, instead of like, you know, that longer to die, it would maybe take like 25 to 30 seconds to die. And you want to know what both of these have in common? They're both longer than the build time of a roach, which is 19. You're overestimating his DPS a lot. And you're over-engaging, you're overreacting, you're freaking out. Just wait for these roaches to spawn. Group up in a mass of units, run his ass over. You could have done it multiple times. You just kept bleeding your army out over and over and over and over and over. And if you make spores at 4:30, if you do that every game, that's fine too. You can make, if there was a liberator over there, and you had a spore done at 4:30, a spore color's build time is like 20 seconds. It's 21 seconds. You could have literally uprooted the spore, planted it under the liberator on creep, while you engaged him with roaches and queens. Like, you could have gone like this: roaches and queens, A move, spore, uproot, root under liberator, call it a day. And even if your queens die to the liberator, because you're not microing anything, you're not transfusing whatever, the spore would fucking kill it. Because a spore can't be targeted by a liberator. It's a building. So you'd be fine. So dealing with this build is very doable if you just macro. And stop changing the build. The reason why you're losing the game is because you're changing the fucking build. Did I tell you to go double spine crawler? No. I did not tell you to go double spine crawler. Did I tell you to rush a roachworm before your larva's done? No. I did not tell you to do that. You're doing those things on your own, and it's fucking you over more than you realize. A lot more. Like, your build is so behind pacing. So I hope this helps you realize where you're going wrong. I hope it helps, man. Lunder, I fucking love you, dude. I know it sounds like I'm being really hard on you, but it's because it's for your own good. I feel like once you understand this, you'll be like, wow, okay, these builds are not hard to deal with. Like, literally, inefficient builds just suck. And his build was super inefficient. He was so lazy about pushing you. Like, if I looked at his build, I would probably see so many problems as well in his game, where I'm just like, what the fuck is this build order? And also the fact that he wasn't even pressuring you that fast. He sieged outside of your base with one fucking tank and sat there. That is not scary. He wasn't even in range to shoot your hatchery. He can sit there all day. There's no rush. Like, the timers I gave you where I'm like, your hatchery would die in a certain amount of time. He's not even doing that to you. He's just sitting there. He had no pressure on you. Like, obviously there's pressure over time if you just sit there for 5 minutes. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just telling you to wait for the next round of inject, and that's it. Just, if you have 20 supply and eggs, just let it pop out and then go. Don't just rush like 4 roaches out there and then die. But yeah, I hope this helps, guys. I hope you guys, you know, Zerg play, because dude, let me say this before I do my outro. You're not the only one who's said this to me. I have so many fucking people. So many people are like, they say this quote. I think I even just got this on like YouTube like 2 days ago for like a comment on one of my Bronze Gym videos. Goes just like this: ViBE, how do you deal with X pressure? Because in your series in Beta GM, you never got attacked like I did. People I play against are way more aggressive than the people you play against. So your builds don't work anymore. Could you maybe make a new series that deals with just all-ins? Because you never get all-in, and I do. And you want to know why it feels like you're getting all-in? It's because you fucked the build up. That's it. Not even doing the build anymore. You're doing something super inefficient, so it feels way harder to deal with what he's doing because your build is so far behind now. That's really the answer. And again, that answer was not directed directly at Lundrill. It's directed to everybody that says that, because so many people fucking say that. So many people make that statement. Like, dude, it doesn't work anymore. Like, dude, you're under par. You're just not making shit. Anyways, Lundrill, I hope you don't hate me now. I don't know if I've done one of these for you before where I ripped into you this much, but I hope either way, it's definitely constructive criticism. It's not very hard to fix these problems. I definitely can see you advancing as a player very easily. If you just, fix the stuff we just talked about, for sure. Because it's not that hard to do. It's like just fix up, the efficiency of things. Like, don't go out of order here. Don't do things because you're freaking out, and suddenly game feels way easier. So I hope it helps. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for hanging out. If you guys liked it, go check out more videos. This has been a gold level ZvT, how to defend an all-in of tank liberator push. But until next time, guys, good luck in your games, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace, guys.